This is a film study focused on Seattle Seahawks corner Devon Witherspoon, who made his return in Week 9 as the Seahawks overwhelmed the Washington Commanders on the road, 38-14. He played 47 snaps, a little above 70% of the snaps, maybe a step slow earlier in the game, but I think just showed all of the aggressiveness, the burst, willingness, actually not willingness, motivation, desire to tackle that you would expect from a Devon Witherspoon game. We'll get the film started here as quickly as possible, and then I'll give you some summary thoughts at the end. He'll be spot shadowed in yellow, in this case at the bottom side of the screen. First play of the game, in fact, it's an unusual set or formation from Washington. They're basically, I think, trying to pull one over on the Seahawks by going play action boot into the boundary where they have 3 eligible receivers lined up. Now, one of those receivers is, in fact, a tight end. This doesn't really involve Witherspoon at all, other than the fact that I think he's a little bit slow getting across the field covering this wide receiver. It just seems like his reaction time, at least early in the game, was a little bit slower than we would expect. He's a very decisive, abrupt, fast twitch athlete. I think Seattle's strategy against Jaden Daniels was near perfection. Basically, we're going to allocate 4 rushers against the quarterback as much as possible. And if you want to continue to scramble for 5, 6, 7-yard gains, this one happens to be 3. We can rotate guys at the defensive line position and put Jaden Daniels in a spot where he's got to do this all night, but Seattle's using 5, 6, 7, or maybe even 8 different guys to rotate out and keep fresh. It's the same play from the end zone and go again. Doesn't involve Witherspoon. He's off screen to our top right, just about the 2 o'clock position. So tight end, wing combo down here on the left side, and this should be very familiar to Seattle fans. You have this insert by Samuel, and then the tight end stepping out, so very Rams 49ers-esque. Well, really, at this point, you'd have to say it's Kubiak-esque as well, because Seattle uses it. Play action to the running back to the field, and then the boot coming back against the grain. And you see Nwosu consistently in this game, the outside linebackers for Seattle were making contact with the tight ends and impeding that route slightly, such that he couldn't get to his route as quick as perhaps it's designed to do so, and the coverage could then keep up. This is Witherspoon trailing behind the wide receiver. Some space there, obviously. I think he got quicker, and I think you'll see evidence of that throughout this film study. 3-yard gain for Daniels, like I said, sets up a 2nd and 7. He's down here at the bottom side of the screen. Check out how Seattle passes off these routes. So this is conceptually similar to a snag flat concept, except this route is a little bit deeper, in my opinion, and you've got more width with these receivers in terms of their alignment. Snag flat normally is a quick 3-step concept, whether you're in the gun or under center, and the running back is shooting out into the flats with an angled hook and then a corner route, in this case, or a post-corner route. In this case, those guys are lined up a little bit wider, but watch how Amanwari and Jones pass this off, number 1. And number 2, how Witherspoon responds smoothly. It's initially a 2-high safety structure, but then Bryant is taken over, getting to the middle of the field, while the other safety, Okada, has kind of spun down to basically fit underneath in what's starting to look like a cover 3. Jaden Daniels was definitely looking to that downside. Witherspoon matched the vertical, the post corner, and once again, you got the same dynamic. 4-man rush. Jaden Daniels, whether it was by design for him or just a reaction to seeing Seattle's defense for the first time, which is, at this point, is an absolute nightmare. But for years, under Mike Macdonald, things present different looks post-snap than they do before the snap. What are you going to do? Throw the swing pass immediately to the running back, or then Nick Amanwari from an outside-in angle? Jones and then Witherspoon as well are going to converge, and it's basically going to be 3-on-3, but you got 3 great tacklers there. What's the other option? Throw the angled hook to Samuel. Well, once Amanwari holds it for a second, I guess there's a window there if you had already thrown the football. Now Jones is expanding on it. Everything is covered up by the Seattle defense consistently, and like I said, Witherspoon matches the vertical. There's just nothing there. You see that dynamic repeated over and over again, not just in this film, but so far in 2025. 4-man rush, and I think basically we've got a pick here on the left guard by the outside pass rusher Nwosu. I cannot say that Nwosu lays a great pick here. In fact, he kind of after making contact, shies away from further contact, and that, almost opens the lane up a little bit for Jaden Daniels. Remember, off screen here, well, you do have Jones on screen, but you've got Manwari off screen and Witherspoon as well. Those guys are matching the routes perfectly. You can see the stunt. They're getting Leonard Williams to move all the way around, possibly a hold on, I think that's Byron Murphy. And Wosu does fold underneath, try to make the tackle. So even within the four-man rush scheme, it's not like they were just rushing in predetermined lanes. In any case, that there's a penalty after that scramble, and that creates a 3rd and long. Now they've moved Witherspoon. Okay, the boundary side corner, the bottom side corner is Job. Witherspoon here. Top side guy is Reek Woolen. Kind of this amoeba look up front by the front 4 or 5 guys for Seattle. And the route that Jaden Daniels is going to target is the tight end over the middle. Witherspoon is all over it, in my opinion. A couple of things to mention about it. You've got a really nice jam on the tight end. It's slight, don't get me wrong, but it's by Ernest Jones, who will then turn his back after jamming and move to get out into essentially the curl flat area. Great reaction by Witherspoon. It's like, I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, basically talking about Daniels, looking at the tight end. Is a 3rd and 20. So you got to try to find a way to make a play. I don't think Seattle is necessarily actually trying to get to Jaden Daniels here. One thing about Witherspoon, when you see a tackle occur, sometimes maybe you don't know the number for whatever reason. Guys got sleeves on, and you can identify their jerseys. Certain guys are 6'4", Woolen. Other guys are smaller, 5'11" or 6 foot in the case of Witherspoon. Witherspoon reminds me of a guy that he should never be compared to, and that's Jack Campbell for the Detroit Lions. Because when I watch Lions film and I see a tackle occur with some violence, finish, that I don't mean that it could potentially hurt someone, but the way that tackles are supposed to be done with some tenacity and finish to it, like you really actually want to make the tackle. Witherspoon, I would put in the same regard. Not the same size player, certainly a different position. It's another 4-man rush from the same angle, from the end zone angle of the same play. We're talking about Jones jamming the tight end as he releases ever so slightly, just to impede his progress a little bit. Look, the NFL nowadays is just free release. A lot of times it's just glorified 7-on-7 from a quarterback and receiver standpoint. Any type of disruption or reroute at all can interrupt the flow of the quarterback and the receiver. It's 3rd and 20 here. I don't really think that Seattle is necessarily trying to get to Jaden Daniels. I think this is one of those situations where, one guy is given the opportunity to maybe rush the passer, and then everyone else is kind of slow playing this. It's 3rd and 20. They don't want to let him outside the pocket. In any case, quick, decisive, snake-like tackle by Witherspoon. That's pretty much what you get when he's healthy. We know Seattle scores on their first drive to take a 7-0 lead. We've moved to the second possession. This one does not involve Witherspoon, but I'm using it to set up the ensuing play. It's a 12-personnel group, and it's a short toss with the running back basically taking a counter step to the bottom side of our screen, his right, and then veering back to the top or his left. Basically, F counter scheme where the guard is going to try to kick out Boye Mafe, who perhaps runs upfield a little bit to create that seam. Leonard Williams, Drake Thomas make the tackle. It's an unusual turn and toss from Jaden Daniels. 49ers flavor to it, if you will, with the short toss and the tight end leading through out on the corner. It ends up being a short gain because of the disruption, the chaos that Leonard Williams brings. So the concept is going to be the tight end go in motion, and then this guard is going to go to kick out Boye Mafe, who's left side of our screen, but right-hand side for Seattle's defense. One thing that you have to say that Mike McDonald's group must spend a lot of time on, or their time spent on it is of a very high quality, is block destruction. If you want to block these guys in the front 6 or 7, you're going to have to earn it. And so what I'm talking about is Leonard Williams with the combo/double, and then also Drake Thomas with the run identification, and then full speed into this tight end. And then his ability to get off of that block while Leonard Williams is splitting or fighting through this double team. This is a violent football team. It's a violent defense that I think you should believe in, because even in their nickel defense against 12 personnel, they believe that they will and should stop the run. even from a too-high structure. Will there be a day or a night when someone is able to get things accomplished in the run game against their nickel personnel group? Probably. I will say this as an aside. I think I've been remiss in not doing enough film this year of Leonard Williams. I went on record in the offseason as saying that he should have been an all-pro, not just a Pro Bowler, an all-pro. He's that good. If you gave me 11 players to try to stop some alien race of offense, I want Leonard Williams on the field for me. I think he's a Pro Bowl player right now in 2025. And so I want to ensure that I try to do some Leonard Williams film study videos. I'm putting that out there so you can hold me accountable to it. Very next snap, and this is actually the reason why I showed that play that didn't involve Witherspoon. So it was a 3-yard gain on the counter toss. If you recall, it went to the top side of the screen for us, the right-hand side for Seattle's offense. You've got the same personnel group, 12 personnel, same motion by the tight end. It's an exact replica. The difference is it's now going to be a toss down here to the bottom. It looks like they're trying to get some type of 2-for-1 down here on the bottom side, basically taking advantage of the man structure that Seattle often plays with Josh Jobe into the boundary. Jobe happens to be set to the field here, which is interesting to me. But in any case, the running back bounces it. The angle is wrong here for Witherspoon. This running back should keep going here. I'm not sure why he doesn't, but the angle is... Let me rephrase that. Witherspoon is not wrong. The angle is at a deficit for him. The running back should be able to take advantage of this. Witherspoon somehow gets to the outside shoulder or shows him something in his approach here that leads the running back to think, okay, I should cut this up. It's a great tackle. He makes these He has made these tackles dating back to Illinois. Again, when you see a Devon Witherspoon tackle, you kind of know it. There is always, in this case, DeMarcus Lawrence is there for the finish, don't get me wrong. There's always some type of violence to it at the end. The way that the play worked out the previous snap, the 1st and 10, the short toss to the top side of our screen from the All-22, the left-hand side for the offense, was this concept, right? The guard would pull and kick out Mafe, or try to. The tight end would go in motion and then return back to try to go block the corner. Same motion, and a cool little switch here with the timing of the tight end. But again, it looks a little uncomfortable or maybe clunky here. In any case, they're trying to get a 2-for-1 with the blocking scheme over here. Basically, if you go to the inside to go block the Mike linebacker or even a Manwari, and Seattle, are playing man, then you can get a 2-for-1, meaning one blocker who's been defended by a DB and man can occupy 2 defenders, the guy he's assigned to block and the guy who is assigned to cover him. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense, but it's a great tackle out here in space by Witherspoon. It doesn't get any more athletic than Witherspoon, in my opinion. He's quick, explosive, and for me, the main difference between him and so many DBs is I think he wants to tackle. There's a different mentality when you have a football player who wants to tackle. He wants to get involved. I think not only does he seek out those situations, but when those opportunities present themselves, he jumps at it, number one, and I think that when Witherspoon gets involved in tackles, when he's making physical contact with offensive players, be it blockers or ball carriers or even receivers, I think that it gets the ball rolling downhill in terms of his impact. And that's one of the reasons why I like him as a blitzer so much. I should have said in the beginning or the intro, I've only got 10 plays queued up. At some point, I've got to try to make my videos a little shorter. 27, 28 minutes for one player focus is, just too long. So this one's going to be 10 plays. We flipped the field now, and we're into the second possession. Seahawks are in a 6-1 structure on a 4th and 1 with 2 high safety look, okay? Very different from most other teams across the NFL. So run action with the running back, almost more downhill than this line, and then boot by Jaden Daniels. Witherspoon, of course, is spot shadowed in yellow. On the boot by Daniels, it's a great call by Washington. They're using his athleticism. In addition to that, you've got a tight end blocking and then releasing out. Severe conflict for Bryant as the topside safety because you've got a free release by the slot wide receiver down here at the bottom side of the screen. We're talking about this guy right here. So try to visually track him back as I rewind this. It's a 6-1 look with a nickel platform. So that's Manwari. He is the nickel, walked up as the mirrored player to Drake Thomas to the boundary. So there's no one lined up over the receiver like a nickel or a dime linebacker would be. So hence there's a free release. He runs all the way across the field, and he'll end up putting Bryant in conflict, which is one of the reasons why Bryant can't defend the tight end 87. But this is Witherspoon. You don't have to coach Witherspoon to go, which is, man, it's a good thing. If you've ever been involved in coaching with a contact sport like football, some guys you're trying to coach them into go forward. Now, attack. You see it, go. You don't have to, if anything, with Witherspoon, at times you may have to try to coach it out of him. In my opinion, you want as many guys on the field like that as possible. And even though, he's missed a lot of time this year over the course of his 3-year career, I think that dynamic, that element that he brings has been proven again and again. This is one of them. This is one of the reasons why I love him being used as a blitzer so much. It's a 3rd and 15. Crazy. 4-man rush over and over and over again used by Seattle, Mike McDonald and Aiden Durde. And you get to 3rd and 15, and he brings 6. It's a different kind of mentality, a different level of preparation, in my opinion. People are trying to copy it across the league, and I think that's only going to continue. This, of course, ends up being the interception for Okada, right? The timing on this is amazing from Witherspoon. There's no giveaway. They're playing in Washington. It's not like the guard has to tap the center to tell him when to snap the football, as if they were playing in Seattle. So you can see there's only 5 guys in coverage here. Witherspoon gets the quarterback hit. Daniels is already throwing the football. There's the ball, by the way. But we'll rewind this for a moment so you can see the contact between Witherspoon and Daniels a couple of times. He's committed. I think he desires contact. And then here's Okada covering the targeted receiver. This is a brilliant interception. I think this is the best play that I saw on defense for Week 9. I'm sure that I'm either unaware of certain other defensive plays that are worthy of mention, or I'm just forgetting some. It's a little surprising to me, even knowing Mike McDonald's structure of defense the way that I think I do, that on a 3rd and 15 after bringing 4 so many times consecutively, they decide to go with 6. The way they open this up is awesome. Leonard Williams going to occupy the center. Actually, he's going to occupy the center and the guard. And then Drake Thomas is going to occupy the right guard. Excuse me, I did that wrong. Drake Thomas is going to occupy the running back. Leonard Williams occupies the center and the right guard. And what that does, in combination with Nwosu getting upfield against the right tackle, it opens up the B gap for Witherspoon perfectly. I think this is a hard-coded outside rush for Nwosu because he knows that Witherspoon is rushing through B gap. And this is something I've tried to talk to Ravens fans about a lot. Every pass rusher doesn't always have a two-way go on every snap. Why not? Well, you don't want Nwosu and Witherspoon to be in the same gap, especially against an athletic guy like this. So it's just rush discipline. Hey, you've got a topside rush. It's hard-coded. Use whatever move you want, right? Use what move you think you've got set up or which one is your best against this particular guy. In this case, Witherspoon gets the quarterback hit, free rush through the B gap, boundary side corner blitz. It's fun to watch. Don't take it for granted as a Seahawks fan because, Mike McDonald's going to be there a long time. We all hope. But it's just an amazing level of confidence in your guys. And then, they live up to that standard. Witherspoon with the quarterback hit. The guys execute the stunt up front perfectly, even though I didn't describe it great initially. And then Okada makes the interception along the sideline. The backup safety, who, if everyone's healthy, wouldn't even be there. Well, I say that. Okada would be on the field in some form or fashion, but he wouldn't be playing 100% of the snaps or whatever he played Sunday night. Moving forward to the third possession, it went crazy because Seattle scored after that interception, right, to make it 14-0. The kickoff, they then make it 21-0 on the touchdown pass to Arroyo. This is a cool coverage, man. I may try to get this done for One Play Wednesday if I'm able to produce anything in that regard. I think you basically got man on one with Pritchett, okay? Job, I believe, is out of the game at this point. That looks like Reek Woolen up top into the boundary. And then the way this works is Witherspoon's going to work over the top of this route by the number one receiver and handle the tight end's out route. Really great illustration of, number one, his tackling skills, but also the communication. Let me move that out of the way. So we're talking about like Witherspoon's arm, and I'm sure he's saying something to Bryant, the safety, about basically how they're going to match this. But at the same time that he's pointing to the inside, or just before that, Ernest Jones is pointing to the outside. So these guys are 4 over 3, 4 defenders over 3. They're communicating. They're in sync, on the same page. My guess is Jones was communicating to the DBs outside of him, basically Witherspoon, that the tight end was going out. And so Witherspoon at the same time was communicating to Bryant that this receiver was going in. So you have this natural switch off. It's a great illustration of team defense, if you ask me, pattern reading, if you want to call it, whether it's a quarter structure or, too high, whatever. Pattern reading just makes sense, man. It just makes sense to teach your guys how to read patterns and react to them. You got to have athletic ability. Clearly Witherspoon does. Oh, by the way, it's another 4-man rush for Seattle up top. Jaden Daniels getting rid of the ball quick on 3rd and 5. Witherspoon with just what I consider to be a play that tells you who he is. He's versatile as an outside corner. On this particular snap with Jobe out of the game, Pritchett was the outside corner to the right, the bottom part of our screen. Woolen was the outside corner to the Seahawks left, the top side of our screen. When everyone's healthy, this is the potential is sky. Well, it's already sky high. You're already a top 5 defense, probably the best in the league at this point. The Texans deserve mention. A couple of other teams are there to talk about, but the potential for this group when everyone's healthy is sky high. We've now got a score of 28-0, and we're on to the 4th possession. I'm only going to do 2 more plays. He's going to make a tackle on a scramble here by Daniels. I want to talk about how, first of all, Witherspoon and Nick Emanwari being on the field together on the same side, what a blessing, right? Number 1. Number 2, Washington has once again motioned to create 3 into the boundary. So they're trying to go, they know that Seattle's in a nickel structure, and they're trying to force Drake Thomas to widen up, or they're trying to force Seattle to rotate one safety down and then rotate the other guy back, essentially get out of their too high structure, and Mike McDonald and Aiden Durde are not going to do it. So first of all, I think Emanwari kind of gets in the window of this possible route a little bit later. I think that's Deebo Samuel. You also have to keep in mind that, Jaden Daniels threw an interception on the 2nd possession. So as he's going to throw this football, possibly to Samuel over the middle, there's a factor there of that. There's no work at all for Witherspoon up top. Watch him get depth, look for work over the middle. We're talking about his helmet. I'll rewind it and slow forward it a couple of times. He has no work because the tight end blocked and then stayed in. Essentially, you've got 4 to a side by Washington. Daniels doesn't, feel like he can throw to anyone. I think Samuel is the only guy who could possibly be looked at as open. But even then, you've got Emanwari doing a great job of getting depth. Probably got some kind of call from Ernest Jones. And Seattle expertly pushed their coverage into the boundary to account for the original 3 receivers and then the 4th emanating from the backfield. So great job by Seattle. And then, of course, Witherspoon comes up, makes 1 of his 7 tackles. It's Jaden Daniels. We should appreciate and respect that so many guys were able to come up and make a tackle on him. When he did escape, it seemed like it was oftentimes in this area. Again, I believe that this was very strategic for Seattle in basically saying, you're not going to beat us out to the sideline. We're not going to let you get there. If and when you do scramble, it's going to be up the middle. You're going to take some shots. You're going to have to decide, whether to slide. And it's going to be a series of 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 or 7 yard gains where we're rotating guys in, but your quarterback is having to drop back, process something. In many cases, he didn't. He just took off running. And then expend a ton of energy on a snap-by-snap basis. Final play that I'll show you, really could probably have delved into some of the film from the second half, but I think it's the game's pretty much over, number 1. Number 2, Witherspoon did not play 100% of the snaps, nor do I think he should at this point. It's after that scramble by Daniels for 8 yards. It's a 12 personnel group up at the top. Pistol set with the running back directly behind Daniels. Looks like a read play, basically just giving it, in my opinion. I don't think there's necessarily a read there because no one's left unblocked. So what is there to read? In any case, the running back runs into a wall. Check out how Drake Thomas is reacting. So he's apexed out once again. Just like I said before to Twins, they don't want to roll this safety down. They want to stay in their too high safety structure. Look at the reaction of Thomas. Gets in there, tries to help build the wall of Seattle defenders. And the running back chooses to bounce it, I guess because, there's nothing there. It's 2nd and 2. Just get the first down. He bounces it outside, and Witherspoon is the guy that makes contact. Again, I think he wants contact. I would bet, I don't know this to be true, I would bet that somewhere in his background, Witherspoon was a tenacious defender on the basketball court. You never can really tell, to be honest with you, because occasionally you run into great athletes who, for whatever reason, can't play basketball, can't dribble. I doubt if he's one of them. Witherspoon reminds me of guys that, if you've ever had to handle the ball and play point guard on the basketball court, you hated to go up against because you knew that he was faster than you. He's also incredibly tenacious, but had great technique. This is an underrated football player, in my opinion, around the league. I'm just glad that he's healthy. I'm also glad that he didn't play 100% of the snaps. He did play every single snap in week 1 and week 4, only 72% this week. I wish that everyone was healthy right now. Job, Woolen, Witherspoon, Kendrick, who's been inactive some weeks. And so basically, if everyone was healthy, then Witherspoon could be off the field some, maybe 85, 88% of the snaps. Right now, probably can't take him off the field a whole lot unless you're in a blowout situation like the second half here. I hope that there are some moments where McDonald and Durday are able to rotate him out strategically. I mean, you may say that's a bad idea. Here's my point. I love his game, the effort, the passion he plays with, the versatility, physicality, commitment to his technique, commitment to making tackles, all of it. A complete football player, in my opinion. And he offers a talent boost to the secondary that really no one else does. Woolen, unless he starts making incredible interceptions again, Nick Emanwari's a part of it as the nickel DB. And he's progressing. He's playing great. I think Woolen's improving as well. But I just don't see anyone who can impact the game against the run and the pass the way Witherspoon can. I know he's only got, one career interception. It was the 97-yarder against the Giants in his rookie season. He's a fun player to watch. I really enjoy cutting up film of this Seattle defense right now. What I mean by that is screen recording and deciding which plays to cut up and then trying to whittle it down into something I can present to you guys or in a somewhat organized fashion, hopefully. This was 10 plays on Devon Witherspoon that really it's easy to watch and have fun with because you could probably do a film study video on his sideline energy and focus when he's not playing, right? He's definitely into the game and coaching guys and getting involved. I think he's an exceptional football player. I do recognize, however, that my opinion of Witherspoon is probably elevated above most of you because he's missed so much time in 2025. I think he's a huge factor to this team moving forward. A healthy Witherspoon, a healthy Job, Woolen, Julian Love, Emanwari, and Bryant is a heck of a group as a secondary that could potentially be the best in the league if everyone's there at the same time and you're able to generate pressure with four rushers like Seattle has so far. And in case, if you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comments section. I'm intentionally trying to leave my commentary and evaluations to the end. That's intentional so that we can get started to the film early. So hopefully you like that format and that structure. If not, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Finally, if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at Devon Witherspoon's return to the starting lineup, even though he only played about 72% of the snaps, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.